Hey guys, it's Mike from Make Time Online, and today I'm just going to show you the difference between Levelator and Auphonic as a way of leveling out the audio of podcasts. And I use both, so I'm going to show you like the pros and cons of them and kind of the pricing, and well, I just basically use the free version, so it will all make sense in a minute, I hope. So this is just a podcast, so this is me talking and the music over the top. So I've already been through and edited this podcast, so it's all in the right place. So you can see there's little like transitions and things. How to do certain things. So I hope you enjoy, guys. So it's all in the right place. Now, something that's really important for using Auphonic is to make sure that both tracks, any tracks that you are using, if you're using multiple tracks, start at the start. If they don't, let's just say, for example, you were using music that you wanted to come in here, you would just need to insert, so you just need to insert silence, basically. So you go to generate silence and you decide how much you want to actually put in. I'm not going to do it now, but you just, so if you had 4 minutes 30, you just put in 4 minutes 30 of silence, and then it goes to the same points. Now, I always make sure, if I'm going to use Auphonic, the really good part about doing it is that you can export as multiple tracks, and then basically what ends up happening with the music that I have here, if I'm speaking, I can make it go quieter, the music, when I'm speaking, and then come back in when I'm not speaking. So that's the really good standout feature about that. So I normally export as multiple. I choose where I want them to go. So I'm going to put it in here. And it's WAV. Now I've just heard before, I'm not sure why, but apparently WAV just helps to keep your tracks cleaner, nicer, rather than MP3. When you have to upload it to your hosting, you normally have to upload it as an MP3. So that's just something to bear in mind. But just while you're playing around with it and you're getting the levels right and everything, keep it in WAV for as long as possible. And some things that is actually required. So all I need to do now is head over to Auphonic. I'm not entirely sure how you say Auphonic. I'm not sure. And then what I'm going to do is, you can do it in a couple of ways. You can just do a new production and it just levels your tracks. It's simple to do it that way, and it does a really good job. But the reason I use it, you basically get 2 hours for free each month. And so I tend to only use it for certain podcasts. It's my personal preference. I'll show you why. I'll explain why soon. But I go into new multi-track production, basically. And then in here, you can also set a preset as well. So I can set all these things that I'm about to show you up, and it will be there forever basically, and then it just makes it a little bit easier. But all I'm going to show you is that I need to choose file. So I'm just going to upload my 2 files. So my first one was called this because I only had 2 files. Now if you have more files, then it starts getting a little bit confusing, which again is another hint as to why I don't do this for every single track. And then I also go to add another audio track, and I put this is basically my music. It's right in the way. So that is added in. So the really important parts here, filtering is basically, it explains as well, if you see here at the bottom, it classifies the lowest wanted signal. So it basically just filters disturbing noises, background noises and things like that. The noise and hum reduction then does that. You can tick that. I normally do. The foreground or background, so if you have like a track that you want to be the main track and then you want one behind it, I just normally leave that as auto unless it is the music, which is this one. And for that one, I go to duck this track. So it will hopefully change that will lower the sound when I talk and raise it when I'm not talking. So that's just try and keep that really simple. All of this stuff you can add, and you can get like super into it, and you can put it straight onto your hosting and things like that. So you publish on an external thing. The only thing I ever am concerned about is the output file. If you want to do it and then you want to tweak it again on Audacity, like some people want to get like super techie and stuff, then you probably, like I say, keep it as a WAV file. But I just want to get this done. So this will be it, MP3 done, and I click on mono, and it basically just mixes all of those files and it puts it into one mono file. And then all the other things, I just leave this all as it is. This is what it recommends for podcasts. Some people will go to -19. To be totally honest, it is minimal effect. Like, unless you're really, really super, you want to get super techie about it. I know some people recommend going to 19 just so it makes it a little bit softer. I just leave it at 16. Just try and keep it simple as possible, like I do with most things. And just going to double check, and then I press start production. And I'm actually not going to put you through all of this. I don't want notifications. Your credits for 20 minutes. I don't know why that says 20 minutes, because I should have 2 hours. Anyway, let's see. I'm going to start production. And just to show you like the pricing and everything, you do get 2 hours free of audio. And then if you want to upgrade and get 9 hours, it's like $11 per month. And there's all of those. I would personally recommend maybe checking out, if you want to use a bit more, which I have done in the past, but I've used mine, is just paying like a one-time fee for a few extra, because they get rolled over each month. So if, you know, I only use 4 hours this month, then I would still have another, I would get 2 free, so I'd have 8 hours left for the next month. And whilst that is going, I'm going to show you what I also do for how I use Levelator, and then you can see the difference. Now this one is a longer podcast, and you can see I have more tracks and things in it. I still have the intro and outro music, but I tend to mix it up. The reason I use Levelator for this is, one, because you run out of credits for Auphonic, and 2, because I'm not that fussy and I am happy with what Levelator does. But what's really important with Levelator, you must export as a WAV, kind of like I was just mentioned a minute ago. It keeps it a little bit better anyway. And let's just save that as Mo. Okay. 27 seconds. And then as soon as that is done, I'm going to stick the file into Levelator. It just does some magic. Honestly, it looks like the oldest thing that you have ever seen in the world. But look how simple this is. Let me just make sure that's done. Good. And then I'm just going to literally stick that in there. And then that does it. But it will come out as a WAV to upload to my host, which is Podbean. I also recommend Red Circle, which is free, is to put that back into Audacity, back out as an MP3, and then I can upload it. Whereas obviously with this Auphonic, this will literally be done once it's done, if I have enough credits. I'm not going to sit here and make you have to watch me, but I will keep track of the time for you. So why don't I do this? And you can see how long this actually takes. So it's taken 8 minutes so far. I should have probably done this from the start so you can actually see. Anyway, I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so Levelator has done. Auphonic is still going to stopwatch. So it only took a couple of minutes. Something I didn't mention though is just a little bit about using Audacity. I always find a bit of blank, just a bit where no one's talking in the file. I go to Effect, Noise Reduction, Get Noise Profile, select all of it. You can also do that just by clicking there. And then I go to Effect, Repeat Noise Reduction. And that does that. I'm not going to do it again because I've already done it. And I do it for every single thing that I input. I don't do it for the music normally because that's already been done. So that's just something I do to get rid of any sound and make it sound a little bit better. So I already did that before going in, but I just thought that was important to point out. Now in here I have the output. I literally put this back into a new Audacity file and then export it as an MP3 because that's what Podbean, my hosting, needs to be input in. And as you can see here, can you just see how much better that is? If I go back to my original one, look, my guest here was the sound was quite low. My sound was much higher and a bit more like sporadic and things. But then once you put it into Levelator, look at that. It just comes out. Let's just play a little bit.
So I actually know Mo personally from working in Qatar. We both were teachers in a school in Qatar, and he is...
So as you can see there, there's a bit of music. Let me just see if I can get a bit of
It was a week after that the ball was rolling. Like everything started from that point.
That's crazy. So it was literally, you had a chat with him, and then a week later... So what was like your first step? Because obviously you've got the...
Right, yeah, I can hear there's actually a little bit of in the background. I don't know if you could hear that. So I just need to check that I actually did go through all of these and did get rid of that background noise, because that's kind of what it sounded like it was. I will just check that anyway. But that's what Levelator does. You can even hear at the start the music wasn't really like, I'm talking over the music a little bit, which I'm fine with because I have reduced the volume here, as you can see. So
FTE. I read it in a book once, and it's basically...
Let's just see.
FTE. I read it in a book once.
Oh.
I actually know Mo personally. Some of the concepts and things that he's actually done.
So can you see the music?
He actually got an idea and started executing it, because this is where a lot of people kind of get ideas.
So as you could see there, the music kind of like fades off. I actually do that inside here anyway, which is why I'm never too fussed about me talking over. Like it does sound a lot more professional once you use Auphonic. Let's see if it's going to work. I'll be back. Right, that took longer than planned, purely because, let's see how long it took. 18 minutes. If you're doing the multi-track, you do actually need to pay something. Okay, so that is something to bear in mind with the pricing. I just upgraded and got the $22 for 10 hours, one-time credits. I don't know if that's something that's changed. I definitely have used this before and did it. Maybe I was within the 20 minutes though, whereas this one was about 40 minutes. It's just something to bear in mind. Personally, I really like the Auphonic features for using the multi-track because of the ducking, as hopefully you're about to see. But it shows you the output. 35 minutes. You can see that was the input, so you can see like the volume, the levels are kind of all over the place. Look at that bit, that was like really high, whereas here you can't notice it at all. And yeah, so now I can just download it and see what it is like. Let's put that into one of these so you can see. Right, so I'm just going to put the audio track into here. So that hopefully you can see the difference. Now, let's bear in mind. Oh, I'm going to wait for that to go in. So I just want to show you the difference between the two tracks, basically. So okay, so the original. Here we are. Oh no, that's not it. This is it. So you can hear what it's like.
Today we're looking at exactly why and how to start a podcast.
So you can hear there's kind of like the level is just the same. You can hear the music and me speaking, whereas listen to this.
Hey guys, it's Mike from Make Time Online, and today we're looking at exactly why and how to start a podcast that will grow your brand and business. So this podcast today is just going to be...
So I know you probably didn't hear that perfectly, but you can see the difference, and that's the huge difference for me anyway that I find with Auphonic compared to Levelator. Levelator is completely free, as much as you want, but Auphonic, I just really like the dubbing of the track, the duck track, something like that, where when you put it in. And so that is the big difference. You can get 2 hours for free. If you want to use the multi-track thing, then you only get 20 minutes. So that is something just to bear in mind. As long as the track is less than 20 minutes, then you can use those 2 hours absolutely fine. So, I mean, if you really, really don't want to spend any money, then I guess you could even just take the bit with the music and do that bit and then put it back into Audacity. But it is so simple now to edit podcasts using these tools, and they're basically, you can get them all for free. If you did find that helpful, be sure to make sure you subscribe and hit that like button, as it really helps the YouTube channel. I don't really know all that sort of stuff that you're supposed to say, but I always see YouTubers saying it, so I hope it helps, guys. Just the last thing from me, guys, if you do want to see like all of the tools and things I use for my own podcast, then just click the link below and you can get like my free cheat sheet for everything that I use, which pretty much everything on there is going to show you how to do it for free, which is always a bonus. I hope it helps.